question to start the show.
Always.
So we've talked about like tipping in the past, right? I mean, it's been a while, but we have talked about like tipping at restaurants and things like that. And, you know, you've always been on the side of you've worked restaurants, you've been a bartender, all that kind of thing, you know, regardless of what the service is like, still throw that tip on there kind of thing. But I don't know if we've ever talked about like DoorDash and Grubhub and stuff like that. So now we have a middleman who are tipping also, right? So what's your thoughts on that? Do you do DoorDash and Grubhub and things like that quite a bit or no?
No.
You don't.
No.
I guess you are like walking distance from most of the places you would normally go anyways. So,
Well, not necessarily. Here's the thing. My wife does that shit. I do not. I try
okay.
to avoid food delivery as much as possible. And
Okay.
I don't trust people.
Okay.
I try to pick it up as much as I can. Now, if it's a situation where I do not go pick it up and they deliver it to me, yes, absolutely 100% tip.
Okay.
Yes. Why?
Okay.
You don't tip your DoorDash deliver? Do you
No,
have DoorDash where you are?
we do. Yeah.
No
It's
shit.
it's
What do
it's
they
only like
deliver?
it's only like select places, like only a certain amount of places will do it, but
Can I guess them?
probably. I mean, it's going to be your
No,
main.
I want to try. I want to try.
Go ahead.
This
Go
is
ahead.
fun.
I mean, I
Walmart.
don't I don't know. I
Does
don't
DoorDash
I
do Walmart?
I think so. So I just learned that DoorDash does more than food. I guess Grubhub is just food and like
Wait,
DoorDash
more than
does.
food. What do they do?
Well, I think well, you just said Walmart. Like they do things like that, right?
I don't know. I've never used it. I know
Oh,
Instacart
okay.
does because
Okay.
during tail end of the pandemic when my wife was working, I was at home alone with the kid. I really didn't want to leave. I needed groceries. I looked up Instacart. I was like, hey, let me see. I know people talk about this. And then I looked it up and it was like an $8 service charge. And then, of course, I'm going to tip. I'm like, man, I'm just going to run to the store. I'm going to pop on a mask. I'm going to bring him with me, put him in the cart. We're going to make it. We're going to get in and out. Like I didn't end up doing it, but I know that the service charge is astronomical. And yeah, I would tip if they deliver to me. So wait, you're saying more than food.
So like so I'm pretty sure, okay, I'm like 98% sure that when I was looking at DoorDash last time, like Walgreens and places like that popped up through it.
Oh yeah.
So I don't think it's just food. Like I think you can, I mean, I don't know they're going to go
You
pick
can
up a
order
prescription,
a
but they
box of
can,
rubbers, some
if you need,
OJ, and a loaf of bread if you need to. Is what you're saying.
yeah, I guess if
That's
that's what
what's
you need.
up, dude. I like that. I like that. Dude, one
So,
of my
okay.
fondest memories with delivery though is the very first time I was out in LA. They have a place called Pink Dot. Everybody from out there who's ever been there knows about it. But it's essentially a convenience store. But they make pizzas, they make sandwiches. But I'm talking back in the early 2000s, they would deliver beer. And we when I was out there and we discovered this, dude, we took advantage of this place. They were like, but the first time I heard about it, and I didn't even think it was real until I went out there because I kind of just saw it and go, that would be cool. We need that here. Have you ever seen the movie Swingers?
Yeah.
You remember in the opening, the beginning of the movie, when they're all sitting in the dude's apartment playing hockey on Sega and they get
Mm-hmm.
the beer delivered and the cigarettes delivered? That's Pink
Yeah.
Dot. That's Pink Dot.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Pink Dot is real. And the first time I was out there, I was like, this is a real place. I'm ordering 2 24 packs. What do you guys want? It's on me. Like, so
Is
anyway,
that only a California thing?
the actual Pink Dot place itself or
Well, so like
delivering booze and
yeah, delivering the
tobacco.
booze. I mean, it's probably
I don't
more.
know, dude.
You probably see it more now. Like, can you get like beer and stuff that they're like Instacart?
Oh, yeah.
You
Oh,
can.
yeah.
Okay.
There was a 12 pack in my order before I canceled it. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That
But
makes sense.
I've never done it. So, but it was in my cart.
Okay.
All right. So what happened? Sorry, we went
So
down.
going back to my original question, if you're going to get an order through DoorDash, are you tipping the place plus the DoorDasher?
Are you asking what my logic would be or what do they
Yes.
actually do?
Yes.
My
Your
logic
logic.
would be tip the driver. Fuck the place.
Okay, but how do you say that? Because if you were at that restaurant and they made your food and brought it out to you, you're going to tip them, right? Okay, so you say screw the restaurant, but if you were going into the restaurant and sitting down, I mean, I understand you have like a waiter or a waitress, but you're still going to be tipping them, right? So at this
Okay,
point,
so let's back up.
you're just tipping the middleman.
So if you order carry out and you go and pick it up, do you still tip?
I think so. I don't do it very often, so I don't.
I guess I'm confused by your confusion. So this person, the driver, went to the restaurant, picked it up for you, brought it to you.
Mhm.
Who do you think deserves the tip?
Well, I guess my question is, would you tip both? Would you tip the restaurant
No.
for making it and tip the driver? Okay.
Well, no, dude. When you ordered Domino's 10 years ago, before any of this existed, you didn't tip Domino's, you tipped the driver. But that's why they charge a fee. I
But
guarantee you,
but a lot of
let's
times,
Google it.
but I mean, doesn't like isn't a delivery driver a lot of times like a waitress or something, like they get paid less amount per hour because they're expected to get the tips?
Correct.
Hmm.
Did you see the two dudes from South Park? They own a restaurant and they banned tipping in the restaurant because they pay their servers like $35 an hour.
Jesus, no.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a smart business move or no? Do you take an estimate on what you think, like an average, weekly amount of tips that a waiter or waitress would get, and then average
Well,
that out to what a $35 an hour would be?
let's make something very clear. The creators of South Park probably can afford to spend a little bit more on payroll than Uncle Bill down the street who
That
runs the
that, that
Pancake House.
that's
So
very true. But
like,
they also, if their name's stamped on it, then they're probably getting a lot of customers too. Like it's probably not just a little rundown place.
yeah, I like it. I think that's a good idea. I mean, when you go to Europe, you're not expected to tip because servers and bartenders make good money
Yeah, I've heard that
hourly.
actually. I don't know if it's Europe or if it's like Japan. I've heard that there are other countries that like kind of see it as a um
Insult
yeah, as an insult that
that happened to me. So
you may
when I
have
was
told this story.
in,
I don't remember.
no, I don't know if I did, but
Okay.
I still tipped everywhere I went when I was everywhere. I don't care. I'm tipping you.
Yeah.
If it insults you, I apologize. Spend the money however you want. Like I don't know, but we were in Lisbon on a little like street, little restaurant like on the street. It was a breakfast joint, or we stopped there for breakfast, and there were probably 10 tables on the patio, probably 10 tables inside, small place. But the food was outstanding, despite the fact that this girl did not speak English. She was nice to us. Clearly, we were dumb Americans. I, being the one trying to speak broken Portuguese to her,
Well, I was gonna say
kept
you can't say despite her not speaking English when you're in another country.
no. What I'm saying is that didn't stop her from being chipper and like
Oh,
we
I see.
clearly
Okay.
didn't speak the
I
same
see.
language as her,
I see. Okay,
right?
that makes sense. Yeah, yeah,
She could have been like, "What the fuck?" Okay, yeah, point at it, fuckers. Like, but I was trying to speak broken Portuguese to her, just terrible, awful. But
Okay, I before you move on, I have to know, do you know somewhat of Portuguese, or did you purposely try to learn a little bit of it before you went?
I just wanted
Where
to
did that
learn.
come from?
No, I mean, no, I no, I don't know Portuguese. No, I learned the basics
Okay.
while we are just please and thank you and
Okay.
stuff like that.
Okay.
So brought us the bill, paid her, left a cash tip. And when she picked it up, she looked at me and she shook her head no. And I was like, no, no, no. Like did one of those, like, no, no, please. And she had this look on her face like, motherfucker, no, I don't want your tip money. Like, sorry, I'm not taking it back from you. And I was just like, to my mom, I was like, get up, let's go. Come on. She's gonna bring it back and like put it in your purse while we're not looking, or put it in my lap. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's necessarily insulting as much as it's like maybe some places are like, hey, you better not take tips. I pay you well. Don't you
Right.
do that. Who
Right.
knows?
The reason that triggered this whole conversation is there's a video that kind of went viral, and I'm just gonna be broad with this because I don't remember where it was at or anything like that. It may have been in St. Louis, but it was basically a guy that went up to a house and he was getting like a $5 tip on like a $20 order. And
Okay.
he wasn't happy with that. It was like a pizza. And he made a comment to the lady that opened the door that this is too nice. Basically said, this is too nice of a house for me to only get a $5 tip.
Oh, fuck that guy.
And this was all caught on like a Ring doorbell, and it was posted on
Yeah, that
social
guy
media.
sucks.
And that guy sucks. That's 100% true. But I had an instance while we were on our vacation where we got us and my parents got food, and the restaurant brought us the DoorDash picked up the food, brought it to us, and it was like about $100
Okay.
for all of our meals, right?
Can I
We
can
gave
I
her a
ask
20.
what kind of food it was?
It was Chili's.
Okay. Okay. Carry on.
So for all four of us, it was like $100.
Okay.
We gave her a $20 tip.
Okay.
This chick could, like, she was freaking out that we gave her a $20 tip. And I'm thinking that's 20%. I mean, that's a normal tip.
She
Like
was
if you're at a
mad like you didn't
restaurant.
tip her enough.
No, she couldn't believe that we gave her $20. Like she was
Oh, I'm
so
sure.
excited about it.
Oh,
And
sure.
she told her, or like she was like, really $20? Like, do you want change? My wife's like, no, that's your tip. And she goes, oh my God, that's amazing. She's like, I've never gotten that big of a tip before. And my wife was like, well, how long have you worked for DoorDash? She goes, a couple of months.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how many, over a couple of months. I think you can kind of make your own schedule with that kind of a thing. So I don't really know how many she's done, but still, I mean, that's a 20% tip on an order. So
I guarantee you she never gets 20%.
it just blew my mind. But then I started thinking like, well, she's also the middleman. She's not actually the person that made the food. So do people look at it that way?
No.
But there's also like a section on, like, I think on Grubhub and like DoorDash and stuff too, where you can put your tip, or you can say you want to just give cash or whatever.
Mhm.
But I think you can just zero it out. Well, then I think the person coming to the door doesn't know that they're not getting it, or doesn't know they're getting a tip because it got zeroed out. Or they would, you know what I'm saying? Like they would have known before they got to your house if they were getting a tip or not if you put the tip into the system.
So
So I'm
I guarantee you that girl rarely ever gets 20%. And I think part of the reason is because the service fees. I think when it's all said and done, somebody looks at the service fees and they go, fuck this, I'm not tipping.
right,
They ignorant people probably think that that girl gets a cut. She's most definitely does not.
right,
I also think that delivery drivers are different than, unfortunately, I don't think they should be, but delivery drivers are different than servers and bartenders. I think a lot of people, I think a vast majority of people don't look at them as people who deserve tips.
okay.
But I also think that
Well, now, so this conversation is coming based off like we don't know what money, like what kind of money they make. Like I don't know what DoorDash actually pays. It's not, I mean,
minimum compensation a dasher, okay, minimum compensation a dasher can expect per hour is 10 to 19.50, depending on the region and range, according to DoorDash. The company said those being paid hourly and those being paid per offer will earn a similar compensation. Drivers can toggle between hourly and per delivery pay as often as they want. I'll be honest with you, it sounds like a terrible gig. And I would never, like, if it were desperate times, desperate measures, I would find something else to do.
I mean, I don't know that if you're in like St. Louis, or I don't know, I guess if you're in a good area of St. Louis, because I think you can still choose like what orders you take. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? Like, where the house is going to be that you're going to go to. Like, you can choose those, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like that bad of a gig. The only problem is you're paying for
Terrible.
your own gas and you're putting your own wear and tear on your own vehicle.
Yeah.
So there's that. But if you're making $15 an hour, plus you're getting tips, if you're getting tips, I mean, that's a thing too. But I don't know.
Yeah, I just think it depends, man. But if we're going back to the old school days of just pizza delivery, Chinese food delivery, I have many friends that did that. While that fast cash is good, I don't know. I always admired them. I was like, I don't know how the fuck you do this. Because you got to look at it this way too. If you work for a place that's busy, you're getting your ass handed to you. And when you do take that $38 order up to somebody's doorstep and they give you 58 cents, you want to murder people.
Yeah.
Like that when I was a bartender or when I was a server and I got stiffed, I was upset. But I wouldn't, and I always equated it to this because again, I had friends that did this. I go, man, I'm not as upset as I know my friend would be who delivers pizzas and will get stiffed all the time delivering pizzas. So I think it's a little bit different. I would never do it. I would never do it. And let me say this back to something you said. Uh, your order was $100. You gave 20%. And did you say something about wealthy people tipping better? Or did I make that up in my own brain?
No, I didn't say
Okay.
that.
I thought
I don't
yeah,
think.
my brain's so let me say this. Coming from my experience as a server and bartender, especially as a server, bartender's a little bit different because you're getting people loaded and
Yeah,
it's a different experience. I mean, you know, when you serve, you bring people drinks too, but it's not near the same. But as a server, I'm going to tell you this: wealthier people did not tip better. The people who tip the best are the people that work and live in the real fucking world.
right.
That's who tips the best.
Yeah,
And you know, I've had people tell me, well, I worked in fine dining and the money was great. I'm like, yeah, because every meal you're taking out to that table was 200 plus.
right.
So you better get tipped well, you
Yeah.
know, and you don't typically, but if you're working at a casual place, you know, you want the person who understands where they came, you know, or where they showed up to. That's my experience.
And I
It
guess
all sucks.
the plus side to being like
Fucking
a
hated that.
DoorDash or a Grubhub or whatever is that, you know, the tips are going to be yours. They're, you know, you're not working for a place that like combines all the tips together and then divvies them
Oh,
out,
I would
you know,
never
because I
do
know there's a
that.
lot of places that do that too, which
Yeah,
just
we
sounds
just went to a
awful.
place recently for my son's birthday. It's one of our favorite spots. And we didn't know that they did that because we were always like, man, the service here is outstanding. But you'll have 4 or 5 different people come by your table and check on you. And, you know, my wife and I go there quite often. So we're always like, at first, we were like, yeah, maybe they just like us. You know, we're fun. We have a good time when we come here. And then we see them doing it to other people. I'm like, well, maybe they're just really good. And then we found out my son's, it was like 2 weeks ago. We found out that no, they actually do pool the tips and then split them at the end of the day or the end of the shift. So
Gotcha.
that's why you're getting 3, 4 different people stopping by the table, bringing your drinks, bringing your food, refilling your stuff. So I think that's cool, but I don't know if I would want to do that.
You know, I heard a story within the past couple of months of it was a situation where like a guy was at a restaurant with a bunch of his buddies and they had this waitress and he really liked the way that she did everything and she really did a good job and he went to tip her and then found out that they pull all the tips together and
Yeah,
he didn't like it so he took his tip back and
yeah.
then apparently after her shift he met up with her and tried to give her the tip and the restaurant found out about it and fired her.
No way.
Yeah,
What restaurant is this so we can
I don't remember.
have them shut down?
I just heard the story.
Fuck that place.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, man, I always tip. And it's not, and believe me, I tipped before I ever got into the industry or started working in the industry. But I did grow up. I had a family restaurant we had a family restaurant growing up. So I grew up in, I call it a lifestyle. You know, you ever watch any of these reality shows like Kitchen Nightmares or Bar Rescue or any of
Right.
these
Yeah.
fucking reality shows where 9 times out of 10, they'll be like, what's going wrong here? And it'll be like, well, or no, they'll give the introduction like former Marine it was his dream after he retired to open up his own bar, although he's never been in the industry before, ever. Oh, you mean
Right.
like when you were 15, you didn't wash dishes? Nope. Oh, you mean like when you were like 15, you didn't like bus tables? Nope. Never done it before. I've only been a customer. And then it'll cut to Gordon Ramsay or what the dude from Bar Rescue being like, you're failing because you don't know anything. You don't know the industry,
Right.
period. Like,
Right.
so my point of bringing that up is like I call it a lifestyle. You know, it truly is to own a place like that, to work in a place like that, especially a family run one. It is a lifestyle. It is a business, but it's also a lifestyle. So I always tipped, man. Like
What
I couldn't.
what's your standard tip? Do you have a standard or do you base your tip on how your night went? Like
No,
what the
I don't.
service was like?
20% unless he or she or they or Z or Zer spit in our food and smack one of my kids, they're
Yeah.
getting 20%. Yeah.
Okay, let me give you an example here and I would like to know what your thought is. So, we went to a restaurant while we were on vacation and we ate and my wife ordered chicken Alfredo. Okay, fine, no big deal.
It's a healthy order.
Yeah, they bring a steak Alfredo out that
Okay.
is like medium rare steak, which for one, it was a mistake. I mean, for two, if she would have ordered steak Alfredo, they would have asked her, how do you want your steak cooked on it?
Sure.
My wife was going to just keep it and not complain about it, but she does not eat medium rare steak. Like it's got to
Sure.
be like
It's gotta be.
medium or medium well. Like it's got to be up the chain on that. So she told her, she's like, I was gonna or she told the waitress, I was gonna keep this and not worry about it, but I don't even eat this steak. So can you make me another one? We're done with our meal before she gets her meal. So she basically asked for a to-go box as soon as they brought it to her.
Okay.
We got a one saw there was one person that said sorry, and that wasn't even our waitress. It was somebody else. Should, and I wouldn't ever ask, but should something have been done about that? And would you have given a 20% tip still?
I still would
When
have
you,
tipped 20%.
okay.
I wouldn't have asked, I wouldn't have brought it up to anybody else. I wouldn't have asked for a manager or anything like that.
Okay.
Now, would I go back to that place? Maybe not. Can I ask
Okay.
what place this was? Is it a chain or was it a
No, it wasn't a chain.
okay,
It
okay.
was just a random place down there.
Can I before I finish my thought on that?
Uh-huh.
Steak Alfredo sounds disgusting.
It didn't look great.
I don't like chicken Alfredo, but steak
Oh,
Alfredo.
really?
I don't eat
Yeah.
pasta. I'm not a pasta
Right.
person.
Right.
But that sounds gross. Like my brain and my stomach at the same time went fart as soon as you said that. So I would have tipped 20%, maybe not go back to that place. However, what should have happened, and this goes back again to my experience, I also not only was I a server and bartender, I also managed places for time periods of time. As a manager, I would have walked up and been like, sincere apology, like offered something, a to-go drink, a
Right.
to-go dessert. But that's not, but I don't think that's a necessity
Right.
to offer something for free. But
Right. And like I said, I would we
you
are not the type of people that would ever ask for it either. It's just a matter of you feel like something should have been not even at least like the waiter saying, I sincerely apologize, that was my fault, or something like, something should have been done. I don't know what that would have been. But when you know that you have a table where three people have completely finished their meal and there's one person still waiting for their meal, that's an issue. And
this
that's
sounds
on the
like
restaurant.
this sounds like a recurring thing with you, man. I don't know if I ever want to go out to dinner with you. Sounds like
Maybe
I'm gonna have
not.
a I think I'm gonna have a bad experience, dude.
It's a possibility. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's me.
I think you bring in some bad juju to the restaurants you go to.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I want to show you something. I'll tell you another quick story. I've never sent food back ever
Okay.
that I can remember. Past
The
few
only
years,
before you move on, the only time that we have is if it's been a steak.
okay. Well, yeah,
Like
because that I
if
mean
you have a steak that's still mooing when it gets on your plate and you're normally like a medium well person, you get that thing. But
yeah,
then again, it's like that's the hardest thing in the world to send back because you don't know, are they going to give you a new piece of steak or are
no,
they going to just try to
they're just gonna try to cook
force
your
that
steak.
thing, which
Yeah.
is awful. Like that's an
It's
awful.
ruined at that
Oh,
point. For me,
yeah,
it's ruined. Most
yeah, for
people will
sure.
just eat the fuck out of that thing.
Ugh,
Believe me. Yeah, it's
yeah.
gross to me. Like if you,
Hey, sorry, go ahead.
especially with steak, like steak has to be it's a one you got one shot at it. If not, I'm moving on. Like
Yeah,
that's. But I also am very. I'm not ordering steak just anywhere. They
yeah,
have to be like a renowned place for their steaks for me to
yeah,
order steak. Otherwise,
yeah.
it's not happening. Past few years, I remember I was out with my wife and some friends, and I remember we were out with our kids, and we were like last minute, like let's go get some dinner, but we weren't sure where. Which is finally like, oh, they're open, let's go there. I don't want to call the place out because they're a cool place, but this experience was not the greatest food wise. And I ordered food. I ordered nachos, and dude, they were inedible practically. They were so bad. Everything was bad. The chicken was dry. It was like dog food. The chips were stale. Like everything was bad. But our server saved the meal.
Okay.
Hey brother, can I refill your, hey brother, hey miss, hey ma'am, yes please, thank you. Like, was awesome. He's a young kid. He was like probably like 19, but his attitude, his exuberance, just like, he was polite. Everything about it, I was like, I'm not gonna, who cares? I'll eat it. And he'd be like, how are those nachos, brother? I'm like, oh, they're fucking real great, dude. I want to be like, they suck, but I like you, so I'm just gonna
Yeah.
power through this.
Right.
And I didn't get food poisoning, thank God. Let me show you some. So yeah, I've never sent anything back. But again, I'm different, man. I
There's
know not
always
everyone's like this, but
there's always that happy medium you want too, right? With your waiter or waitress, like you don't want them at your table like every 2 minutes, but you want them there maybe every 8 minutes, like just to make sure, hey, you need to top off your drink. You need to, just make sure
see,
everything's
I
good
think eight
kind of
minutes
thing.
is too long.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I think 5, 6 is good.
Okay.
Yeah, you may have already seen this, but
Yeah, I think I have,
We
but
could only
yeah,
go out to eat
for
if
sure.
kids eat free. That was it. 12 and under. By the way, your parents tell you never to lie. 2 past 12. And then everything's just this big scheme. We'd go to this restaurant, O'Charlie's. So I got to go in there. I'm like 17.
have you ever been to an O'Charlie's?
Yes.
Dog shit.
Uh-huh.
Dog
Not great.
shit.
Not great. And also,
cigarette
before you
out
move on,
outside.
did you see that Nate Bargatze's coming to the factory? He normally
No.
plays the pageant, but he's actually doing the factory. And I think he just added a third show because of demand.
God, I would like to see him again. I saw him so long ago.
I haven't got to see him, dude. We should get tickets and go together. It'd be
It was
awesome.
like yeah, I would like to go. He was complete. It was so different when I saw him. I didn't even know who he was. I just had friends tell me, it's
Have
this
you
one
seen
dude.
his
He's
recent
from,
have you seen his recent specials? Like he just put one out like a
I've
month or
seen
so
this
ago.
one that this clip is from.
Okay,
So
yeah.
most of it anyway.
Outside. Gotcha. I'm older than the general manager. I'm like, what's that? I'm 12. Don't worry about it. Me and my daughter go to the table. We had a waitress quit on us once. She just quit. She took her order and left. And she was very nice. Like, we didn't know she was going to quit. She was like, oh, that's a good choice. She wrote everything down and then walked to her car and drove to her house. And she didn't tell anybody she was going to quit, so no one knew to check on us. She was at home watching TV, and I mean, we sat there with probably the most trust we've ever had in a person. I think about her every day.
So that's, dude, I'm telling you. Now, if you have a positive experience, you're going to think about that person, not every day, but every once in a while. Like that dude I just talked about. I'm like, man, that dude was cool.
Have you ever had like a waiter or waitress at a restaurant that you like went back to specifically to sit in that, like ask for that person's? Is that weird or is that ignorant to ask to sit in a certain person's area? I don't know. I never thought about that. Toeing the line a little bit.
It depends on the place. Like if it's like a mom and pop sort of hole in the wall place, I don't think it's an issue. But if you go to a bigger place, especially like a chain, they have sections and that shit's predetermined like 5 hours before the shifts start, and that's a little bit much. But if it's like your spot and it's like I said, like a smaller mom and pop, yeah, why not?
Okay.
Sure, why not? All right, we've spent how many minutes talking about tipping?
Almost 45 minutes on this.
No way. Yeah. That's funny. And I have not shared this with you prior to, so I want you to see this.
Uh-oh.
Streaming got to get their shit together, because I don't understand how the fuck you get paid off of that shit. I mean, can somebody explain to me how you can get 1 billion streams and not get $1 million? That shit don't make sense to me. Like, I don't know who the fuck running the streaming industry, if you in here or not. But nigga, you need to give us some information on how the fuck to track this money down. Because 1 + 1 ain't adding up to 2. And I have to say it, because that's the main gripe with a lot of us artists, is that we do major numbers with streams and this shit, but it don't add up to the money. Like, where the fuck is the money? When I first came out, my records would sell based off of physical. If you sold 1 million copies, that means if $9.99, $9 million, you get this percentage, that's what it is. So if I sell how many streams, how much money do I get? It's not being translated, and it's not working for the artist right now. And I just want to speak to that in the music industry. Like, that's fucked up. And we need to find a way to figure that out. The same way the writers are figuring out. The writers are striking because streaming, they can't get paid. Because when it's on the platform, it's not like in the box office. In the box office, if it does all these numbers, you may get a up. Oh, it did this many, here's another check. But on streaming, you got 300,000 hours that somebody watched your movie. Where's the money? And I know I'm going off a script right now, but fuck it. This is business. You know what I'm saying? This is a room full of business people, and somebody may hear this and be able to do something about it, so that way the next artist don't have to struggle or cry or try to figure out how to get to his money. Because some of these artists are streaming millions and millions and millions and millions of fucking streams, and they don't got no millions of dollars in their pocket. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
That's crazy that there's a video out there about Snoop Dogg talking about that, because so I had brought that conversation up.
That's why I wanted to show you that.
I know that's crazy. So I had brought this conversation with you earlier this week about how I heard on a podcast where they were talking about like Netflix and Hulu and places like that. Can
you say the podcast?
Did I tell you? Because I don't remember what one I was listening to.
I don't think you told me. That's why I'm asking now. I figured it was the what's the one you list, that goofy one you listened to with Jason Bateman?
No, it wasn't that.
Wasn't that one?
It wasn't Smartless. Oh, it was.
It doesn't matter.
It's called This Is Important. It's it's the guy. Well, it's the podcast that the Workaholics guys do.
Okay.
It's just a goofy, it's really a show about nothing, but
makes sense.
So Adam Devine, do you know who that is?
Okay, that makes sense now, because go ahead.
So he was talking about a movie that he did a long time ago, and it was a Netflix movie, and that Netflix pulled it down, and now there's just literally no way for people to watch it and find it. And they were talking about how Netflix, since they own it, if they don't like the numbers that they're getting and the streams that they're getting on a movie that they have up, they can just pull it down and call it a loss, to where they don't have to pay out royalty or residuals to the people that do it. And you agreed with that, but you were like, what was your take on it? You were saying like, if they're smart at negotiating, that they can, get money on the back end of it, regardless if it's pulled down or something like that.
Well, no. I said that is smart on Netflix's part, right? But
it's a business move. I mean, I get it. It screws the actor depending on what their negotiation power was in the beginning.
Did he happen to say what type of traction the movie would have needed in order for him to get residuals?
No.
Okay. Well, my point was basically there are actors, and this is again, we're talking about the era of box office movies, not necessarily streaming movies, but there are actors in the industry who got very, very hip to and very quickly got hip to the idea of, I'm going to not take a paycheck for this movie, and I'm going to negotiate in my contract to get back end. So if the movie reaches a certain amount of sales, certain amount of box office figures, certain amount of DVD sales, certain amount of overseas figures, I'm getting a cut of that. And I know one of the more infamous ones that I can recall is Leonardo DiCaprio. When he did Inception, he said, don't pay me for it. I want back end, because I know this movie's, he essentially, he and his team or whoever, probably Christopher Nolan, the director as well, like, this movie's going to be fucking huge. Let me go ahead and get that back end, because it's going to be a lot more than he was probably making 10, 15, 20 million a picture at that point.
Right. Well, I mean, the more recent situation was the Tom Cruise situation, where they had a plan to put that out. I mean, he was going to make the money regardless, but they had a plan to put that out, but he was going to make money off the box office. Right. And he made him wait to put that movie out. And God knows what his bank account looks like now, based off of, I mean, that movie was freaking huge. Because
Tom Cruise knows what he's doing.
Put it out.
Tom Cruise is he's the fucking boss, dude. He owns everything. Did you see he was on a tour? He stopped in like local theaters and watched the movie with people. They didn't know he was there.
Oh, really? That's
and then
cool.
When the lights came up, he walked down the aisle, like in the front, and people were like, "What the fuck?" And he like took selfies with everybody. And weird fucking guy, but he is the OG. Leonardo DiCaprio earned at least $50 million for Inception, just from box office earnings. but his deal also included home video and television. Bank. One movie. Think about that. And how many movies has he done since then?
Right, but you also have to have a name of a certain stature to be able to do something.
That was my point.
Yeah.
There are guys, your DiCaprio's, your Will Smith's, Tom Cruise, obviously, Christian Bale, Hugh Jackman,
The Rock, Kevin Hart, any of the,
I don't know about that.
I don't know.
Let's not get
I mean,
ahead
I
of
know you don't
ourselves.
like. I know you don't like him, but
let's not get ahead of ourselves. Don't send me down to a Kevin Hart hating rabbit hole. But my point was like, yeah, there were guys that could negotiate that. Now with the streaming, who knows if that's even possible? And I would love to know if he even stated, I get residual. I would have received residuals based on this. Dude, what should I say? It's changed everything for everyone. He was on a couple of podcasts recently talking about, he wasn't necessarily talking about streaming. He was on Theo Vaughn's podcast. And he was talking about how,
you're talking about Adam?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Because he just put out a movie, right?
The Outlaws. I just watched it the other night. It's pretty decent for what it is.
It's an action comedy.
Yeah. It's got Pierce Brosnan in it. And
yeah. I saw the trailer, or part of a trailer. But he was talking about how, superhero movies and Marvel movies and these big box office movies like that have kind of changed comedy movies in essence, because your standard comedy movie has to have some sort of action now in order to get people even remotely interested in it. Like your boy Kevin Hart. And they're going to have movies with The Rock. And so what did I say to you? Let me look up. I guess my point was,
you brought up like Frank Grillo, and you were talking about like,
if you're a guy like that, for instance, who had that movie, that action movie that came out fairly recently, was it on Hulu or was it on Netflix? I know you watched it, right? Had Will Sasso in it, and
I didn't know.
You didn't watch that? Are you sure?
Yeah, last thing I seen with Frank Grillo, we may have talked about it, but last thing I watched with him was Kingdom.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Boss Level.
Okay.
It came out in 2020. Pretty decent action movie, man. It was good. It was good. Now, if you have a guy like that, who again, he's no Leo, he's no Will Smith, but if you're a guy like that, what do you do in a situation like these days where you do have these streaming platforms who kind of have control over this content, and if they don't think it's doing well enough, they're going to pull it, like you said? Do you take the upfront, like, yeah, fuck royalties and residuals, go ahead and give me a $10 million check, it'll be worth it then? Or do you go, no, this movie does well and it hits number one on Netflix,
right? Yeah, I mean,
I want to see something.
You're playing a game that could go either way. I mean, if you say just give me a $10 million check and we call it even, okay, well, you made 10 million bucks, but if that becomes a number one and just makes ungodly amounts of money, you just kind of screwed yourself.
But if it's not out at the box office, how is it really making money?
I don't know. I mean, I guess
advertisement and
yeah, I mean, I guess that goes back to what Snoop was talking about the streams. Like, is there like a certain amount per stream on movies that actors make, just like songs?
How do Netflix movies make money? Almost 90% of all its revenue comes from subscriptions and partnerships, while 10% comes from advertising. So subscribers are given access to movie shows and other Netflix originals by subscriptions. So there has to be some sort of like incentive for the people involved in a movie.
But I mean, Netflix isn't getting the advertisement right because they don't even do commercials or ads or anything like that.
Well, that's not necessarily true. They're on the side. You're seeing them still.
Ads? On the side
like,
of what?
Just on like the home screen, the home page. Aren't you still seeing ads for something?
I don't think so.
I hate Netflix.
It's definitely downhill for me. I don't know why I have it.
It doesn't work.
I always talk myself out of unsubscribing from it.
It never works. It always freezes. It always stops playing. Sorry, we can't play this title. Choose another one.
I haven't had every
other one I have works. Hit play and it starts. No issues with Apple TV. No issues with Hulu. No issues with Amazon Prime.
Yeah,
we got them all, dude. They all work. Netflix doesn't. Maybe it's because there are so many users. Who knows? I'd be interested to know that, but or you could be Adam Sandler and negotiate $200 million deal to make 10 movies or whatever he said.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, But how do you, unless you make a box office superhero type movie or one of those movies, how do you get a movie to do well at the box office these days? What does it take?
At the actual box office,
Yeah.
it takes the, I guess, the right actor or actress, I guess, right? I mean, that's all that's how
No, it takes the
how
type
you
of
can
movie
sell
too.
it. Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, it takes a Top Gun Maverick or,
Such a good
something like
movie.
that to, I mean, is there anything else that you've seen come through the theater since Top Gun that you're like, I would definitely go to the movies to see that?
What do you think the top selling movie of 2023 is thus far?
I don't even remember what's been out.
Me neither, but I can tell you this.
I can tell you
Of the
what's,
top
I,
four,
I can tell you what I bet's going to be
go ahead.
the Barbie movie.
Oh, you think after it's all said and done, it will be?
Yeah.
Can I just say this? And this goes to you and the rest of my
Uh-huh.
friends. If you go see that, we're no longer friends.
I don't have a desire to watch it.
I saw someone post the other day. Oh, it looks kind of funny. I might have to go see it. I'm like, I will find you and strike you with a bat. Okay. Let me just say this. Of the top five, none of them are based in reality.
So is Super Mario one of them, or the Mario movie?
Super Mario is number one.
That's what I was gonna say, but I couldn't remember.
$573 million
I couldn't
gross.
remember what else has come out. So
Super Mario, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Little
of
Mermaid,
course,
Avatar number 5.
okay. So yeah,
Dude, Creed 3 made 156 million. Wow. Good
okay.
for them.
Totally random here, but you said Creed. Did you see the Creed's putting out new music?
Who?
Creed.
Apollo Creed? Adonis
Uh,
Creed?
no,
The band
the
Creed?
band Creed.
Do I look like a person that cares about I think I saw something about it, yeah.
It just,
Have you
I just think that's funny because it just randomly popped up on their social media. Like, could you imagine? It's what's really weird to me too is like it's a band of like Creed. The fact they even have a Facebook. I mean, I don't know when the last time they put out music was, but it couldn't have been that recently, right? And the fact that they have a Facebook and can just randomly post like
good for
music
them,
coming,
dude.
just something random is nuts.
I bet you whatever they put out, it does well, and
Oh
people will get
yeah, it's
excited about it.
for sure going
Yeah.
to. Yeah.
Did you see Scott Stapp on Theo Von's podcast?
No,
I recommend it.
it was a good one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he is a lunatic
Okay.
in every sense of the word,
Yeah.
but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not like he's not going to like knock your socks off with any like really crazy stories necessarily, but him talking about his background and Creed in the music industry, it was interesting enough to make me want to watch it. And then when I did watch it, I was like, oh yeah, that was good. That was a good call
How
to
much do
interview
you
him.
how much do you think their streams went up just because they posted on social media about like, because I don't remember what the post was, but it was a very simple post. It may have just been that they updated their profile picture and then all of a sudden everybody assumes, oh crap, there's new Creed music coming. And then they made a post later about music. But I'm wondering if like everybody's like, oh yeah, I forgot about Creed. And then they go start streaming with arms wide open. And
I'm sure they went up a little bit, but do we care?
I don't know, kind of. I think it's interesting.
No, but I'm saying, do we care if their streams went up?
Oh, not necessarily, but
Streams
it's,
go up now if somebody farts on your CD. Like,
well, but that's what I'm saying. It's kind of like the Kate Bush effect, like
well, Jesus, she's like the number
it's,
one example, though.
yeah.
So but back to the conversation we were having about movies, and then I brought up music, and I said, look, everything Snoop just said. How many times do I have to say it? Like, So my point is, I said to you, I said, you know what? One of these streaming services or a record company right now could say, hey, we'll give you 500 grand for your next record, but you don't get to make any money off streaming. We'll still do licensing so you can make money off the syncing and the licensing aspect of it, but all of your stream money comes to us. Be like, where's my check? Put it in my hand because I'm going to the bank. Fine.
But you also said that based off of what you think the future is going to hold as far as another record goes, right?
Sure. Bro,
So
well, you're not getting my
playing
next record.
you're playing the long game. But what happens if the first record doesn't do as well as you thought it would? Do you think the
Then my
500
tour
million
needs to do well.
Okay.
But here's the thing. You're saying what happens if the record doesn't do well? What if it doesn't stream well? And then we're in a situation where we're talking like Snoop is, like, well, we don't know where the money's going anyway. I don't know if his math adds up though. Hold on. Well,
Well, I mean,
he's talking about all streaming though.
Yeah,
He's not talking about a specific platform.
He did it very basic. Like everybody understands what he's saying and how he's saying it, but he did it very basic. Based like 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2 in this scenario, because if he's really talking about the bottom line math of it, like it's 0.000 whatever per listen or per stream on a song. Yeah, you get 1 billion streams, but that does he doesn't know why you're not making $1 million.
Well, so here's the thing too. So like the example that I just gave to you, the record company essentially is making an investment in me, and their hopes and they're banking on the fact that upfront 500 grand that they gave me will generate a return of much more than that through streams and sales. Obviously, streams more so than sales, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they're banking on. Now, with the movie thing, I'm going back to Adam Devine's kind of conversation about this. Like, I'm wondering what he got paid, because the record label's not going to pull your music from the streaming services. They're just going to let it keep streaming and generate some sort of revenue for as long as it can. They're not going to pull your music. Whereas you're saying Netflix is like, well, this movie's not doing well. We're just going to pull it and stop it from. I guess the idea is like, if they do pull it.
But in that instance, the streaming service as far as music goes doesn't own that music, versus a streaming service in like Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime or whatever. Right. They own that movie because it's an original thing. Right. It's not like somebody made an album for Apple Music or something, you know what I mean?
But the streaming service still gets a cut.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm essentially comparing in my example the record label to the streaming service. I don't know, dude. It's obviously they're different beasts. Making a movie versus making a record, and being an artist versus an actor. But those guys, you talk about that guy like he's making his own movies. So why would he want to do a deal with Netflix if Netflix is just going to have the ability to go, well, if it doesn't do what we thought it would do, we're just going to pull it and bye-bye movie. Why would anyone want to do that?
Right.
Unless you're an Adam Sandler who gets that 200 million and you can make the biggest piece of shit in the world and it doesn't fucking matter.
Right.
You've already got your 200 million.
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, like I said, it's one of those, like you're playing the game that you could win. If you say, give me this money, this is the check that I want up front, and that's a number you're comfortable with, and you don't care about what, the streams end up being, then okay, that's fine. But you could be screwing yourself also if it does really freaking well, like better than you expected, and you only took this amount.
Right.
But I guess as long as you were comfortable with that amount in the beginning, in the end, you're good. But it's still it's a.
Can I tell you what's more valuable than both becoming TikTok famous? Now that
it does seem to be, doesn't it?
That will get you paid.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about this Ashley Gavin controversy? I don't even know if it's a controversy anymore. Is it? Has it fizzled out?
I don't know. I just heard about it the other day. Is she? So you said, when I sent this to you, you said TikTok famous. Was she?
Oh yeah.
Like, did this make her TikTok famous, or was she a pretty big?
She was already TikTok famous.
She was. Okay.
That's how she's getting people to shows.
I had never heard her name before.
Me neither. Didn't know who she was.
It's insane. Know. It's insane to me. It just doesn't seem like TikTok has been out that long for somebody to be considered TikTok famous, and actually TikTok is getting people to their shows. That's nuts to me.
Well, let me ask you this. How do you think she became famous on TikTok? What kind of videos was she posting?
Probably
something
stupidity.
We've talked about recently. Crowd work. The good old crowd work videos.
Like when we were talking about Matt Rife, same concept.
Remember how I talked about some comedians are kind of speaking out against this? Like, we don't really, it's fine. We do crowd work too, but we're using these clips to, there's no bits. There's no comedy necessarily. It's just crowd work.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like crowd work if it's done a certain kind of way. I don't like crowd work if it's, let me go ahead and just focus on every stereotype I see in the front row and poke fun at that. That's a little bit weird.
Who did I see recently? Somebody, it's a big name too, that's putting out a special that is all crowd work.
I
I
don't
just
know.
seen it too. I don't remember who it is though. Anyways.
So the story with this girl, she got famous on TikTok doing crowd work videos. I do want to point out also that she identifies as gay, which she so often has to remind people of. But she does. So when this story came out, so she had a fan, somebody who saw her on TikTok, became a fan, went to one of her shows, paid money for VIP, meet and greet, all that good stuff, went to one of her shows. And you know what? Let's just go ahead and play this girl's video. As much as I don't want to, we're going to do it. Hold on. Let's let the fan tell the story, Colt.
Okay.
What do I know? So this is the fan telling her story of going to see this comedian live.
A comedian that I really enjoyed and was a big fan of hers until I actually went to her show. I was such a fan of this comedian that I bought 2 VIP meet and greet tickets so that way I could, meet her and shake her hand. And my friend and I, we ended up getting there. We had the best seat in the house. I was so looking forward to this. Mind you, this was 2 days after one of the more stressful nights with my dog, and I was so excited because I was like, this is going to be good because I need to just laugh. Like, I need to have a good...
Okay. So let me just, do you ever need to laugh? Have you ever said that in your own head or said that to somebody else?
No, this is weird already.
So this is a red flag to me.
But it's weird. I don't know. That was a weird excuse. Like,
well, that's my point.
I had a stressful night with my dog, and this is going to be great because I need to laugh.
Also, what did your dog do to you? What the fuck kind of dog does this girl have? I don't know.
Relaxing time and just laugh. So she starts getting the crowd riled up before the opener. She comes out and tells us to not hold back and to just laugh and be loud.
Red flag number 2. If the comedian's telling you how to behave at their show,
that's odd.
Always a bad sign.
Yeah.
Always a bad sign.
At one point in time, she talks about abortion, and of course, I'm loud, just like she requested. I guess I was thinking I was being supportive. Next thing I know, she looks me dead in the face, and the crowd is silent. And she tells me that I am the most annoying fan that she has ever had come to one of her shows. Immediately after that, she tells me to go unalive myself. And I, jokingly, but also very seriously, was like, I already have.
Okay. So many red flags, I don't even know where to begin. So like...
I need to know, that sentence didn't make any sense. I jokingly, but also seriously.
Yeah.
So what she's saying. So when I first heard this whole story, she was being a lot more, what I thought was she was being a lot more serious about the whole thing. And it was coming from a person who has had mental issues in the past and has tried to, as she says, unalive herself. But now she's saying that she, in a joking way, did this. That seems weird to me.
Yeah, well, she clearly is. She clearly, like us, has confused herself. She doesn't really know what she's saying at this point. I also think she's trying to tell a story, and she might be a little bit nervous in telling it, and she's kind of stumbling over her own words. But boy, I would love to know what the abortion joke was. I'm sure it was a killer. sure
I'm sure.
murdered. But also, what did you say? Why did you yell at abortion? What were you yelling at? Like
Yeah.
most times, if abortion comes up at a comedy show, if somebody's yelling, it's usually in dispute of the material. So,
Yeah.
not to defend this comedian, but this comedian perhaps took it as you're offended by my joke, so now you suck.
I mean, maybe, but also, is she really being that much louder than every single person in there
It
for her
seems
to tell
odd.
her that she's the most annoying fan that she's ever had? Or is this not the only time that this comedian has done this or said that specific thing to other members just to get the crowd riled up?
I heard some other comedians who talked about this say that she's done this before. The comedian.
Which makes sense. It riles up the crowd
Totally.
and it riles up certain people in the crowd.
Totally. But I'll tell you once we get through this, I'll tell you my biggest problem.
She proceeds to tell me to go unalive myself over and over and over again. All of a sudden, there's just this pit in my stomach. And I mean, I don't know how many people were there. Probably it was a sold out show. So between probably 300 and 500 people. And I'm in front of everyone. And she's telling me to go unalive myself, which I've struggled with my mental health my whole life. This is a serious, thing. So I can.
Okay. Then you were at the wrong show. Again, I'm not defending this comedian, but then this girl was at the wrong show.
I mean, if you're if you're that big of a fan and
exactly
you know what kind of comedy they do,
exactly,
and you're going to go to the show, and regardless of if the comedian tells everybody be as loud as possible or whatever, you're going to purposely do that and then make this big of a deal out of what she said to you because she's still being a comedian. However, as we move on and we actually listen to some clips from this chick, I'm not on her side either.
I'm on no one's side. This is a nightmarish situation.
And
Could you imagine being at the show?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not going into this. I was just 100% against the comedian. But now that I'm listening to this girl talk too, I'm not against her, but I'm not for her either.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not I'm definitely not on the comedian side. I'm definitely not on this girl's side either. And I feel bad.
I feel like this girl is screwing up her own story, and because she put out a video of trying to talk about it. If she would have just let it be what it was, if she just let it be what it was, everybody would have been against the comedian a lot more. But I think the more people that watch this video are going to be like, you may have brought some of this on yourself, regardless if the comedian said the right thing or is a terrible person for saying what she said. You still kind of brought it on yourself a little bit, knowing what you were walking into.
Yeah, and I think she's peppering it with too much. It should have just been like, look, I was a fan. I went to the show. I was told to be loud. I was loud. Comedian didn't like it and told me to do something that offended me. And she probably should have just left it at that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But also, again, why is the comedian giving people instructions on how to behave at their show?
Yeah.
I think I said when we were talking about maybe the comedy mothership or something, it's like, don't tell me how to be at the show. As long as I'm not heckling, I can do what I want. I can be how I want. I cannot laugh. I cannot smile. I can cross my arms. I can stick my hand up my butt. I can do whatever, as long as it's in there. Nobody can see it. I can do whatever I want. So don't tell me how to be at your show. My biggest problem with all of this is that this comedian then issued an apology video, but turned the comments off, by the way.
Oh, she did? I didn't know this.
Yeah, I'll play it for you. But here's the thing. Well, let's play it.
But now before I watch this, the question is, and maybe it'll be answered by watching it, is this a sincere video or is this I'm trying to save face?
Fuck no, it's not sincere.
And how could you possibly save face by saying probably the worst possible thing that you can say to another human being?
But she can, dude. That's the thing. She can say that to somebody at her show. I'll stop there. I'll play it for you, and then I'll finish that thought.
Okay.
Hey everybody, I'm making this video to address something that happened at a show of mine recently in Indianapolis. If you're familiar with my work, you know that sometimes I include audience interaction and crowd work in my show, and typically it's very fun. In this particular interaction, I let my emotions get the best of me, and I way overreacted to an audience member's interaction. I have been a comedian for almost 10 years. I know that I could have done better.
No.
This is creepy. She hasn't blinked yet.
Adderall.
I should have done better, and I want to be super clear about this. I took it way too far, and I am so sorry. I have been thinking a lot about this.
No, you haven't. All right, you get the point. So, like,
yeah, this is my manager told me I needed to do this.
She doesn't need to apologize. Again, I'm not defending her, but she doesn't need to apologize. Because here's why. You didn't, this apology's for the world. It's not for the girl.
Right.
This apology's for you and the rest of the world. And like you said, saving face. You didn't do anything to anyone. You did something to one or two people. Everyone else there was perfectly fine with the situation. They didn't go make their own videos complaining about it. They went home with a story, perhaps, but they didn't take to. Go ahead.
But even if she wanted to make this somewhat better, like she could have at least said what the girl's name was, and like if this is an apology video, apologize straight to her. Now, if she was doing the right thing in general, she should have found the girl on social media or got in touch with her somehow, apologized to her there, not made this a whole let the world see this thing. And she probably, I don't know, a lot of people. So if she would have found this girl, apologized to her personally.
Yeah.
So this girl probably would have still made a video on social media, and it would have blew up talking about how she apologized to her and everything's good now.
Yeah.
That probably would have saved her face. But this
I don't
is
think
this
she
is,
should have apologized, though.
You don't think so?
No. I don't agree. I don't think it's
I don't know.
I'm not defending what she told the person to do. However, she can. She has that freedom. So the girl went home and you lost a fan. Right? That's all that's going to happen. You're not going to lose several over this. You just gained two because we didn't know who you were. And now we're going to watch some of your videos. Which one do you want to watch? Hashtag lesbian comedian tries not to be racist. Hashtag lesbian comedian roast guy with very beautiful wife. Hashtag lesbian comedian roast gay Mormons. Hashtag, should I keep going with the hashtag lesbian, hashtag lesbian, hashtag lesbian?
I want, hang on, go up. I want lesbian, hashtag lesbian comedian roast horse boy.
Okay. Here we go.
Did you go fishing today? No, you're not that type of guy. You give horses manicures.
Yes, totally.
Yeah. It's kind of like horse girl energy, dude. Did you always dream of being a farrier? No, of course not. Because what little boy is playing with the My Little Pony being like, you're going to be the most beautiful one. I'm going to just trim your nails a little bit. I had such rhythm and I interrupted it just to do one little My Little Pony joke. I don't know. Was it worth it? You look straight over there. Oh, you're not. Oh, my bad. Sorry. Excuse me.
So let's play a game. How many times does she do this? Call someone gay or accuse someone of being homosexual or pick out who's straight and who's gay. So this is one. We've watched one video. Let's go back to a different one. Let's see how often this happens.
But she can do that because she identifies as gay, right?
I don't give a fuck.
But if it's a straight comedian, can they do that?
Yeah, they make people do it all the time. Not my type of comedy.
I mean,
here are the two types of comedies, two types of comedies that are so popular right now and have been popular for a while that it's not for me. One, straight guys telling the, hey, wouldn't it be funny if we were gay joke? And then homosexuals, whether they be male or female, doing the whole, I'm gay and I have a gaydar, and you, sir, or you, miss, might be gay.
Right.
Hate it. It's so corny. It's so hacky to me. So that's one video. Let's see how many we get here. I guarantee you she roasts the guy with the very beautiful wife by calling him gay. Let's see how correct I am.
Anyway, I do have some surprises, Charlie.
Average guy.
You're gonna learn a lot tonight. You watch Orange is the New Black?
Here it comes.
Okay, dump this guy. Dated reference, bad joke, homophobic, get him out of here. He's like, I know about lesbians, prison. What is this situation? You're really? Sorry. What? Bro, how did you do that? Is Charlie's game just like off the charts? You're saying no. Is Charlie just like? He's not. He's just persistent? Is this 1942? That's how my grandparents met. Do you do open mics, Charlie? Do you do bits?
No, I kick ass at karaoke.
You kick ass at karaoke. I didn't know they still made men that talked like this. Anyway.
Okay.
I do have some.
You want to try one more? Can you handle it? I can't.
I'm not really.
Yeah, I'm done.
This is getting rough.
So
Okay. So
no. I'm glad we watched that clip because I just watched a video. The theme of it was similar to her joke, where like, what is this? 1942? He was persistent. When did it become wrong or offensive or cancelable? Cancelable? Is that the word?
yeah.
To pursue the opposite sex.
Wait, what? Ask me that
When
one
did
more
it
time.
become wrong or offensive to pursue the opposite sex? Like that guy's wife was like, yeah, he was persistent. That's why I liked him. He stuck with it.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Eventually convinced me that he was a good guy and that I should be with him. And her response to that was like, what is it, the fucking Middle Ages? Like, Jesus Christ. What, does he beat you too and tell you to get back in the kitchen? No, motherfucker. He just really liked her and he showed her that. When did it become offensive?
Well, but doesn't it depend on how you use the word persistent? Because
Is that a trigger word now? Persistent?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, right. Because
I get it.
In a world of Me Too, if it's a guy pursues and there's one no, it's over. It's got to be over.
Okay,
Gotta be
but
over.
here's the thing. There's context to everything. What if they were friends, right?
That's true.
And he
I'm
very
just-
persistently
Yes.
stayed a part of her life. Didn't I'm not talking about not taking no for an answer. That's not
I know
what this is.
it depends on the situation. You're right. But also you've heard the stories where it's like the guy was pursuing the girl for so long and, wanted to be with her and got no so many times. And then finally she gave in and they got together and now they're married, whatever. You've heard that it's like it's a TV storyline, right? So that's still considered persistent, right? Well, nowadays it's like if that first no, it's over. It's got to be over, or there's going to be a TikTok video made about you.
This is a dangerous road for us to go down, but I'm going to do it.
Let's
So
do
what
it.
if? So what if?
Are you going to make up all kinds of scenarios?
Yeah. Here they come.
Okay.
I've already got one. So what if the guy meets the girl for the first time through a mutual friend? Okay.
Yeah.
Guy. Now the friend's not trying to set them up. Guy just meets the girl and goes, "Oh, I kind of like this girl. Let me go ahead and ask her out." Asks her out. Girl says, "No, I don't think so." But through that mutual friend, said guy and girl continue to see each other on occasion. Now, the guy's not asking the girl out anymore. He's just very persistently letting it be known that he enjoys her company. He likes being around her. He thinks she's attractive. Is that wrong?
No, but it's all the woman's decision.
Of course. But if he very persistently keeps letting her know how awesome she is, and she eventually goes, "Hey, you know what? Maybe we should go get a drink together." let's go grab a cup of coffee. Is that bad? Did something wrong happen here?
In that
Am I
scenario,
missing something?
in that scenario, no.
Let me ask you, do you think that's a real world scenario that I just described, or is that completely fabricated?
I feel like
Do you think that happens?
I feel like you've had this scenario happen, and that's why you brought it up.
I absolutely have not.
Oh,
I've
okay.
always been the one who's being pursued. Fucker.
Don't
Okay.
look at you, braggadocious dude over there.
Dude. Been with my wife 10 years. Come on.
But
Like-
no, in general, what I'm saying is the word persistent can be used in many ways. I mean, you know, persistent and predatory could be in the same sentence if you really wanted to go take that scenario.
Well, let's paint another picture now. So you have a guy who asks a girl out. She says no. Then afterwards he goes, well, what if we exchange numbers? And when you're ready, you text me or you tell me, call me, let me know when you're ready to go out.
You're really having to dig
Hold on.
deep
No,
for
I'm
this
not.
one.
This happens.
This happen.
Happens.
This one
I've
doesn't
seen it.
happen.
Seen it. Not even on TV, real life. So then after that, he DMs her on Instagram. Say, hey, I was thinking about you.
Creep.
Really wish we could grab that cup of coffee sometime. That's all he says. She doesn't respond. He does it again. She doesn't respond. He does it again. She doesn't respond.
Creep.
He does it again. You think he's creepy?
A little bit.
Yeah.
If you no response the first time, the seventh time makes you a creep.
You're probably right. Maybe I'm reaching. Maybe I just think her joke sucks. Is that it? Yeah, her joke
I'm
sucks.
not a fan. You're you're also just not a fan of women comedians, regardless.
Well, of course. I mean, please.
Which I'm not. I'm
yes,
not in
I
that
am,
boat.
dude.
I'm not in that boat, but I'm not a fan of this, and it has nothing to do with how she identifies, anything like that. It's just not my cup of tea on her comedy, and I don't think her crowd work's funny.
No? What type of crowd work do you like?
Like, let's say an Anthony Jeselnik crowd work.
Well, of course. He's
That
one
would
of the
be
best.
that would yeah. Now, Anthony Jeselnik can go pretty deep and can get pretty harsh, but I don't think he would ever do it the way that she did.
But
especially if it was a situation where if the comedian's on stage and she tells an audience member to go kill themselves, and the comedian comes back and says, I've already tried that, regardless if that's a joke or not, you end it. You don't, you know what I mean?
Do you think the girl really said that? Do you think she made that up for the story? I was going to see if she accused someone of being gay again, but
I don't know, unless it was on, unless it got taken down.
That was 17 years older than me.
Like day of or at the party? So you're ruining a man's life? No. You don't know her name? How'd you get invited to the party? How'd you get on that weird bike that they pedal while they were like, you look like a soccer hop on, we need your power.
you look like a soccer gay. There it was.
Soccer gay? Is that a
I don't like
thing?
you.
It's a thing to her.
Soccer gay? Huh.
Unfortunately, I knew what she was saying. I hate myself for it. Okay, before we get out of here, we like to end the show on bummers.
What bummer are you bringing up?
Well, we had a friend of the show. We just learned yesterday, recently passed away, and neither one of us knew.
Right.
And it's been a while, and unfortunately, we had to find out we found out via YouTube, which is an odd way to find out. But someone put together a memorial song for our friend Dave Velk, who's been on the show before. Very talented guy, comedian / rapper that we had on the show, and it just kind of derailed us. Like it derailed the mood of the night last night. I was like, well, shit,
dude. I mean, it may have been the same way for you, but like, I don't know. It like hit me in the gut hard because I just wasn't expecting something like that in the first place.
No.
You know, and me and you have been talking about having him back on the show and stuff, and you had talked to him a couple of months ago and stuff, and I don't know. And I was just like scrolling through and just seeing a memorial video, and I was like, well, that's weird.
Yeah.
And started looking at it and then seeing some of the comments, and I was like, there's no possible way that this actually happened. And then like as I'm starting to look at stuff, like my heart's just sinking farther into my gut.
Right.
And when we realized it, you immediately called me and was like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
So it sucks. We don't know what happened
No.
or anything like that. We just know that he's no longer with us. And it's been a couple of months. So I just want to, say, as you said, he was a great dude to us, and you've talked to him a lot more than I have, but he was a great dude to us. It was a great interview. I love his music. I listen to his music all the time, and he's a great, a constant creator. So I encourage everybody who's listening to go to his YouTube and, watch his videos and stuff like that, and kind of see what kind of a guy he was, and, really get into his music.
I want to play something now, just kind of end the show on a positive note. I'm not going to play the memorial song, but if anyone wants to go check it out, the Dave Velk memorial video, you can find it on YouTube. It's called Electric Love. Great song, obviously celebrating him and his life. Go check it out. Like we said, check out all of his stuff. I want to play something else, something a little more fun, and just to remember him by, and we'll go out on this. Again, rest in peace, Dave.
Off axis, fucked up sitting in the back of a class with a pen and pad. It's madness. This act is old, gotta be me. You see, I'm not the baddest, but I'm different. Fight to the horn like Forrest Griffin, writing all night for 4 days straight while y'all just show up sorta late. I'm coordinating these choruses, make you nervous like I'm Norris. Call me Chuck as I fuck up these many verses. I'm a veteran rhymer, Houdini with this magic. None of my closet is designer, never really mattered. I'm a savage, I'm like Tiffany Haddish, comedy trapping, gotta be the best one rapping. Putting in work, this early bird is feasting on these fucking worms. What happened? Used to be sluggish, spent my time on food and drugs. It's sort of the same, but now I'm studying how to stretch my budget. Fuck it, as long as I reach these people, I'm happy. Tell my mom I'm grateful for the fact that she had me. I'm living the life I always wanted. Gotta get it while I'm young and flaunt it. Gonna be like Luigi, living in a mansion, but mine won't be haunted. Ironic, none of y'all saw this shit coming. I hit the ground, now I'm running. I'm like a taser, so stunning. I'm on a mission, baby, no one can stop me. Go ahead and try to make copies, I promise you cannot top me.
Talented fucking dude. He will be missed.
Straight